In this video, I'm going to show you how to identify and draw support and resistance. Now, when I draw support and resistance, I want to try to identify the highest volume areas because the areas with the most volume are going to carry the most weight and therefore be the strongest levels of support and resistance. So if we're always trading around the strongest levels, then that's going to increase our odds of taking a favorable trade. So when I first analyze a stock, I look at the daily chart and I try to find where all the high volume is at. If we look at this stock's entire history, it hasn't traded any volume until yesterday right here. Okay, that had over 182 million shares. So the price action that occurs inside this one single day, that's where the strongest levels are going to be. So to get more detail of where those levels might be, I switched to a 15-minute chart. So let's go to a 15-minute chart and we can see here all that major volume. So really, this is the area that we want to concentrate on. We don't really want to concentrate on pre-market or post-market because this has smaller amounts of volume. Okay, our focus really wants to be on the session volume, which is going to be right here. And as you can see, that's where most of the volume is at. So let's first draw resistance. And I like to start with this one because it's the easiest. And really, resistance is going to be the high of day, which usually will have the highest amount of volume. So the high point of this day is going to be right here on this candle, and that's at $2.82. So I'll draw a line right there at 282, and that's going to be resistance. Okay, so now let's draw support. Now for support, I like to start where the majority of the volume starts. So you can see it really picks up right in through here. So right around this area is where I first start looking. But to give more confirmation, I try to find any swing lows that occur somewhere inside this range. So if we move to the right a little bit, you can see there's a swing low right here, another swing low right here. You get a swing low in through here. So right around here is where that major support is going to be. So let's draw a line there. And for these, I like to pick the lowest swing low. So here's the lowest swing low. The low of this one candle is at 182. So we already got that. So this is going to be our major support level. Okay, now coming back to the daily chart, since the stock has only had one major high volume day, this is essentially the only support and resistance levels this stock has. This is the last point of resistance, and this is basically the last point of support. So if it cracks below this support, then it really has nothing stopping it from continuing to downtrend. And on the flip side, if it cracks this resistance, it doesn't really have anything stopping it from uptrending to the upside. Okay, but right now it's still kind of in limbo, but at least for now, we've identified the major resistance and support levels. Okay, let's move on to another one here, and we'll start at the daily chart here. You can see this stock has had quite a few high volume days, and those correspond to these candles up here. So let's turn to a 15-minute chart to get a more accurate reading on where these major support and resistance levels may be. So my focus is going to be on these major volume areas. So let's start with resistance. So resistance is normally going to be where the highest volume bars are, and it looks like this one right here is the highest. So let's start there, and this volume corresponds to the high of day on this particular day. So let's go ahead and just draw a line there just to start. The high of that is at 393. So let's make that 393. Now, if we zoom back out, we can confirm that this is resistance by noticing more rejections around this line. So you have price break a little bit above this area, but I want to point out that this area is not really going to be that important, and we will not draw a resistance line at this point. And the reason why is because this happens in post-market. You see the volume, it's much lower than all these other points in time. So this resistance is not going to carry much weight. The resistance that happens in the regular session that has a lot more volume, that's going to carry much more weight. Okay, so you can see that the price respects resistance right here, respects it again here in pre-market, and then finally breaks over that resistance. And then look at this. Okay, it tests that resistance as support and then continues the uptrend, making this now a support level at this current point in time, because now the price is trading above this level. It's retested it, so this is now a support area. But what if we wanted to draw major support coming from this particular range? So I like to start where all that high volume picks up. So we're going to focus right around here, but then we're going to scroll to the right a little bit and try to place our line that fits just underneath multiple swing lows that happen about at the same area. So let's take a horizontal line, and I'm going to start at this swing low right here and just kind of adjust my line based on what happens going forward. So you get some price action right here, just kind of trading around this range. And then you get a swing low right here that touches it as support, a swing low right here that touches it as support, one right here. So we can adjust our line just kind of in this area. And that's the thing about support and resistance, is it's never going to be an exact price to the penny. It's more of a certain area. Okay, so as long as you get your support and resistance lines just somewhere close to these swing highs or swing lows, then you should be good. But when in doubt, you can always put your support line at the very bottom of the consolidating range. Okay, so this is one huge consolidation right here. And if we wanted to put our support line at the bottom of it, we would take the low point of the session low. Okay, so the low point here is going to be on this swing low, not this swing low, because it happens in pre-market. We really only want to focus on the price action that happens during the regular session. So from the span of these few days, the lowest point that the price makes during the regular session is going to be right here. So this could be a valid area for a support area as well. Okay, now the only time I would draw support and resistance from pre-market or post-market is if the price has an abnormally large amount of volume in pre or post-market. So let me go to a pre-market stock right here. If you look at the price action here, it has a large amount of volume in pre-market. And if we see how much volume that is, currently it has 65 million shares of volume. So this is the only time I would use pre-market to draw support and resistance. So when I do this, I actually go to a 1-minute chart and I just mark the very high point as resistance and then the low point of the major consolidation that happens as support. Okay, so we don't really have that low point in just yet, but at this current point in time, it looks like it's going to be right around here. Okay, so this is where you might need to make adjustments to support and resistance just based off the price action that forms. But given that this stock is going to see its highest volume day, this is where I use the pre-market levels to go off of. All right, so that is how you identify and draw support and resistance levels. I hope you all learned something, and I'd like to thank you so much for watching.